Trump signs Iran deal. England crushes Croatia. Niger airport attack. And Fed holds rates steady. Greetings, humanity. Let's GROK the news, starting with the most important story in the world today. Dateline, Versailles, France. President Donald Trump personally signed a landmark memorandum of understanding with Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian today to end active hostilities between the United States, Israel, and Iran. The signing took place at the Palace of Versailles following the close of the G7 summit. The 14-point agreement establishes an immediate ceasefire, reopens the Strait of Hormuz to international shipping without tolls, and allows Iranian oil exports to resume under monitored conditions. It includes provisions for diluting enriched uranium stockpiles under International Atomic Energy Agency oversight and creates a framework for a $300 billion reconstruction fund, more than half of which has already seen commitments from regional partners. Further negotiations are scheduled within the next 60 days to address unresolved issues, including Iran's ballistic missile program and regional proxy activities. Trump described the deal as a pragmatic step that averts economic disruption and prevents Iran from developing nuclear weapons. Sometimes you have to give a little to get a lot, he said, while warning that the United States would resume strikes if Tehran violates the terms. Iranian oil tankers have already begun passing former U.S. blockade lines in the Gulf. Oil prices dropped sharply on the news, with stocks rallying on expectations of stabilized energy markets. Reactions have been mixed. Senate Republicans Lindsey Graham and Rand Paul expressed support, with Graham calling it a necessary move to counter Chinese and Russian influence in the region. Former Speaker Newt Gingrich applauded the agreement, arguing alternatives risked broader war. However, some GOP voices, including Senator Bill Cassidy, criticized it as overly concessional. Democrats offered cautious acknowledgement. Senator Mark Warner noted that it puts the U.S. in a weaker, immediate position, but welcomed the de-escalation. Israeli officials voiced frustration with ongoing operations reported in southern Lebanon despite the peace framework. The memorandum leaves core sticking points unresolved, including the fate of advanced centrifuges and long-range missiles. Important points. Analysts say the deal reflects Iran's weakened economic state after months of blockade and strikes, while giving Trump a diplomatic win on energy security. European leaders at the G7 summit praised the move for restoring stability to global energy flows. China welcomed the agreement, signaling potential participation in reconstruction efforts. This breakthrough comes amid broader great power competition, of course. The Strait of Hormuz handles roughly 1/5 of global trade. Its closure had driven up prices and strained supply chains around the world. Reopening it is expected to ease inflationary pressures worldwide, though full recovery of Persian Gulf output may take months. The deal also shifts focus back to other flashpoints, including Ukraine and Indo-Pacific tensions. Trump addressed questions at the G7, emphasizing that sanctions relief remains conditional on Iranian compliance and that Israel retains the right to defend itself. Iranian hardliners expressed concerns about being sidelined, while reformist voices in Tehran hailed it as a victory for survival diplomacy. The agreement marks a dramatic pivot after weeks of intense military exchanges. As markets digest the news, questions remain about long-term enforcement and whether this pause can evolve into a durable regional security architecture. The coming weeks will test whether economic incentives can restrain Iran's nuclear ambitions and proxy networks more effectively than isolation alone. I'm Robert Gardner. I use GROK each weekday to truthfully summarize the news for you. And I give it to you with my opinions as well, you can tell. We review a roundup of the most critical reports in the world right after this. M.S. Gardner, my beautiful, brilliant wife, is author of last year's Moon Meridian Prize winner from April Gloaming Publishing, Wolf's Bane, a dark, serious, modern take on an old fairy tale. Little Red Riding Hood was never told like this. It's a page-turning Southern Gothic story for adults. Wolf's Bane, available now at thecuriousauthor.com, all one word, thecuriousauthor.com, or, of course, on Amazon. Now, we grok the news with headlines from around the world. Dateline, London, England. Well, England opened the 2026 World Cup with an impressive 4-2 victory over Croatia in Dallas, Texas. Harry Kane scored twice, including a penalty, while Jude Bellingham and Marcus Rashford added goals in a thrilling match featuring hydration breaks due to the extreme Texas heat. The win showcased attacking flair under manager Thomas Tuchel and boosted English confidence in the group stage. Dateline, Niamey, Niger. Heavy gunfire and explosions rocked Niamey's main airport, according to multiple witnesses. The incident raised immediate security concerns in the volatile Sahel region. Authorities have not yet issued an official statement on casualties or on the perpetrators, but the violence comes amid ongoing regional instability. Dateline, Washington, D.C. The U.S. Federal Reserve held interest rates steady at its first meeting under new Chair Kevin Warsh. Policymakers raised inflation expectations amid lingering price pressures. The decision reflects caution as the central bank navigates post-Iran deal market volatility and domestic economic signals. Dateline, New York, New York. Rex Heuermann, the Gilgo Beach serial killer, received life in prison without parole. The sentencing closes a major chapter in one of America's most notorious long-term murder cases. Victims' families expressed relief as the court delivered justice after years of investigation. Dateline, Canberra, Australia. Bird flu has killed more than 75% of baby seals on a remote Australian island, according to a new study. The outbreak highlights vulnerabilities in marine mammal populations. Scientists warn of broader ecological risks as the virus continues spreading in wildlife. This observer has a feeling it's not the first time wildlife has dealt with viruses in the world. Dateline, London, England. Young women vaccinated against HPV now face close to zero risk of dying from cervical cancer. That's according to major new data. The finding underscores the vaccine's long-term success, and health officials hailed it as a triumph of preventive medicine that has global implications. Dateline, Kiev. Ukrainian forces launched a large-scale drone attack on a Moscow oil refinery, causing significant disruption. President Volodymyr Zelensky defended the strike as justified and called for continued U.S. support. The assault highlights ongoing escalation in the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Dateline, Tokyo. Japan's defense minister declared ramped-up military spending critical to preventing war in the region. The comments reflect growing concerns over threats from China and North Korea. Tokyo is accelerating defense modernization and alliances to maintain stability. Well, this observer sees that as nothing but good news. Dateline New York, New York. An 18-year-old tourist died after falling from a runaway horse-drawn carriage in Central Park. The tragic accident has prompted renewed safety reviews for this popular tourist attraction. Police are investigating circumstances surrounding the incident. Dateline Washington State. Possible human remains were discovered in the area of a spreading wildfire that forced thousands to evacuate. Rescue teams continue searching amid challenging conditions. The find adds urgency to containment efforts for the fire in the Pacific Northwest. Meanwhile, Dateline Los Angeles, California, in the Pacific Southwest, a large warehouse fire triggered shelter-in-place orders for nearby residents. Firefighters battled intense flames and hazardous smoke. Authorities are investigating the cause while monitoring air quality in surrounding communities. Dateline, Texas. A private plane crashed onto a highway, killing one person. Emergency responders quickly secured the scene. The incident disrupted traffic but caused no additional ground casualties. This Dateline is California. The 8 victims of that B-52 bomber crash at Edwards Air Force Base have been identified. The aircraft went down during a training flight, and investigators are examining flight data for clues about the cause. Dateline, the Gulf of America. Tropical storm Arthur has formed off the Texas coast, according to the National Weather Service. Forecasters are monitoring its potential track and intensification into Louisiana. Coastal residents are preparing for possible impacts from the season's first named storm. They're looking at a lot of flash flooding all across the central Gulf Coast. Dateline Los Angeles, California. Rapper Lil Nas X shared a positive health update after completing rehab and receiving a bipolar diagnosis. He expressed gratitude for support during his recovery. The artist said he feels more stable moving forward. This observer has no idea who he is, but wishes him the best. Dateline Cupertino, California. Apple plans to raise product prices as artificial intelligence advances are driving up chip costs. The company cited increased expenditures for advanced components, and consumers may see higher tags on other future devices as well. No big surprise there. Dateline Wiltshire, England. Archaeologists have discovered a simpler, older version of Stonehenge, just 5 kilometers from the famous site. The find offers new insights into prehistoric monument building. Excavations continue to uncover details about ancient British engineering. This observer hopes that the indigenous population of the British Isles can continue enjoying their rich history and heritage. Dateline San Francisco, California. Researchers found that ChatGPT can be prompted to generate sexualized and violent images despite software safeguards. The study raises fresh questions about AI safety controls. Developers say they are working on stronger protections. And Dateline Siberia, Russia. Ancient teeth have been discovered, and this has rewritten the timeline of the plague, pushing it back more than 5,500 years in the annals of human history. The discovery reshapes understanding of the disease's origins, and scientists say that it highlights humanity's long battle with pandemics. I thank you for listening. Please join me tomorrow to once again GROK the News. I'm Robert Gardner. Godspeed and God bless.